All right, Mr. Brooker, I'll set the new one. I'll set it at $500.
Thank you, Judge.
I hope you get it. You're going in today, but I hope you get it. I mean, we're not going to stand for this. You got to pay the piper. And I don't know if it's dealing with the school now will get you to wake up and realize that you can't do what you're doing, but that's it. You know, I've literally bent over backwards not to put you in jail, Mr. Smith. Literally bent over backwards. How many chances have we, Yeah, goes with you.
Wait a minute. Did you hear that? Judge Fleischer made it clear he went out of his way to keep Mr. Smith from going to jail, and now he's finally had enough. How many chances should someone really get in a courtroom? Share your thoughts. Was the judge being too lenient, or was it fair?
Good luck. Ma'am, you're charged with reckless driving. You're facing up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. The officer was driving on Katy Freeway in Harris County, Texas, when he observed the defendant's vehicle driving at a high rate of speed, rapidly accelerating, making evasive lane changes and aggressive maneuvers without signaling, cutting off multiple vehicles, and making those drivers take evasive action to avoid a collision. While the officer was attempting to catch up with the defendant, he reached speeds in excess of 120 miles per hour. The officer then conducted a traffic stop, and the defendant stated she was driving that way because she was late to work.
And I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Do you see if she has a valid Texas driver's license? Okay. If I find that you drive like this again, because I'm making a bond condition that you're not to drive like this, if I find that you do, I will take your privilege to drive away from you while this case is open. Do you understand? Living in a city as big as Houston without the ability to drive is absolutely awful. Don't. I'm going to protect my city at all costs, and if I have to put you in jail because of it, I'm going to have you sign. How old are you, ma'am? Okay, we're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign and reset. After that, I'll have you take your seat in the jury box. I'll get your bond conditions, no racing, reckless driving, anything of this nature. After that, I'll have you sign it, and then you'll be free to go. All right. Good morning, Mr. Harvey. Sir, you're charged with reckless driving. You're facing up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. The officer was parked and observed a road rage incident occur. The officer observed the defendant's vehicle laying on his horn and speeding up to cut off another vehicle. The officer observed the defendant slamming on his brakes, and the driver of the other vehicle then attempted to drive around the defendant when the defendant cut her off again and slammed on his brakes, nearly causing her to drive into a ditch and nearly causing an accident with other vehicles. The officer then initiated a traffic stop and pulled into a nearby parking lot.
Mr. Harvey, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Patience. Patience when driving. And I'm going to have you sign a document promising me that you're going to exercise this patience and not drive in this manner again. And if I find that you do, I'm going to put you in jail. Do you understand? How many times do we have people on the road that sit there and get shot because of the incidents? Like, don't drive recklessly. Those conditions like we did in the other case.
Yes, Judge. Yes, Judge.
Harvey, we were going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. We'll then have you take a seat in the jury box. We'll get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it, and then you'll be free to go. Wait, does he have a Texas? Can you run his license, please?
Expired. I see eligible on our end. I can run it again.
Please. If you do not have a Texas driver license, then do not drive. I will have you sign an affidavit today with me promising me you're not going to drive unless you have a valid Texas driver license and liability insurance. It is your responsibility to reach out to DPS to figure it out. Do you understand?
Yes, I see eligible on our end.
Okay, I'm going to have him sign it. And then if you do, if you have a license and liability insurance, you can drive. If you don't, then don't. If I catch you doing it, it's not going to go well for you. You understand? Okay. You were charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense. The reason that we are taking you into custody now is that it looks like you're on probation for a felony retaliation case, which is now set at no bond. So we're going to do probable cause here today. If there is enough,
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
you're on felony probation. Looks like a warrant has been issued in that case. Bond is set at 0. So we'll do probable cause here. If I find probable cause, well, either way, we're going to, provide your lawyer today. But for now, we'll do probable cause on your DWI second. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine.
Yes, Judge. The officer initiated a traffic stop in Harris County, Texas, after observing the defendant failed to yield to a right-of-way in an intersection and for driving with an expired registration. Upon contact, the officer observed a
This just got real. The defendant was caught with a blood alcohol level of 0.139, well over the legal limit. But what makes it worse is that she's already on probation for a serious offense. And with a no bond warrant in place, there's no getting released today. Some decisions come with immediate consequences.
beverage and slurred speech. The defendant admitted drinking 2 beers and standard field sobriety tests were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 5 out of 8, and the defendant refused to do the one-leg stand. The DIC was read and breath was consented to. The results were 0.139 and 0.146.
All right. Have you seen whether she has a valid Texas
It's
driver's
not
license?
eligible, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Gutierrez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to drive. It is a condition of your bond, and you will be signing an affidavit with me today promising me you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. If you drive, I can have a contempt hearing. You can be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand? Now, I don't know if you're going to get out of custody, but if you do, you will be required to obtain a handheld interlock device that you're going to take with you to prove to me that you're not consuming alcohol. We will also be sending word to DPS so that every officer in this state knows if you're in a vehicle driving, you will be required to have an interlock in that car. So if they catch you driving hard that doesn't have an interlock on it, you're going to be going right back to jail. You understand?
Okay.
No alcohol, no drugs, and I'm going to randomly test you as well. We will provide you a lawyer today so that you can talk with this person to figure out how we go forward with the case. All right, come on, we'll have you sign this and then we'll have you sign your conditions, ma'am. Mr. Martinez, you're charged with racing on a highway. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On December 27, 2024, the officer was assigned to a traffic crimes task force and followed a group of 40 to 50 racers from 2400 block of Turning Basin to the 610 loop. The officer,
Say 40 to 50 racers?
yes, Judge. And the officer observed the defendant and co-defendant's motor vehicles in lane 1 and 2 slow down to approximately 30 miles per hour. And both vehicles took off side by side, trying to outpace each other at approximately 100 miles per hour. A traffic stop was conducted and the officer made contact with the driver, the defendant, and he was the sole occupant of the vehicle.
Mr. Martinez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Can you see if he has a valid?
It's not eligible, Your Honor.
You are not allowed to drive. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising you're not going to drive, and I don't give a rat's behind what your excuse is. If I find that you drive, I can have a contempt hearing every time you drive. It's an offense in and of itself, punishable by up to 6 months of jail and a $500 fine. Do you understand? Do not drive. I'm gonna have you fill out the affidavit promising us you're not gonna drive. We will get you to Victoria, sign a reset, and we're gonna get you out of here. When you come back, please have a lawyer. Yeah, can you file no racing, reckless driving, and all that, please? Yes, Vic.
Okay.
So you're charged with failure to give information upon striking a highway fixture. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Okay.
Yes, Judge. On December 28, 2024, the officer was dispatched to apartments in Harris County, Texas, in regard to a single vehicle accident that hit the mailbox of a residence. The officer observed the defendant's motor vehicle with heavy front end damage, but did not locate any driver or occupants inside the vehicle. During an inventory, the officer located the defendant's photo ID and Texas utility bill that came back to the defendant's name and address, approximately 1.4 miles from the accident. The registered owner of the mailbox came back to the defendant of the utility bill and his address. The officer went to the defendant's residence, noticed the garage door open and garage interior to the residence wide open. The officer made contact at the residence, wanted to make sure the motor vehicle was not stolen and wanted to make sure the owner of the vehicle was okay. The officer went inside the residence after knocking and announcing his presence several times under the community caretaking doctrine, and the officer made contact with the defendant asleep in the living room. The defendant woke up in an...
Whoa,
Yes, Judge. It was because they had...
whoa.
Yes, the vehicle was damaged and he wanted to make sure the driver was okay. So he announced himself and went into the residence because the door was wide open.
Wow.
And then it was after that he saw the defendant asleep in the living room, and the defendant woke up and immediately said the car accident, that he did not cause any injuries or any trouble, and that he was driving his motor vehicle 2 to 3 hours prior, and that he was on his way to drop it off at a mechanic when his vehicle was hit. The defendant called the insurance company, and the defendant walked home because no one arrived on scene, and the defendant was going to pick up his motor vehicle in the morning. And the officer made contact with the complainant, who stated she heard a loud bang and observed damages, approximately $1,025.
So are you telling me that he did stay though?
No, what happened, Your Honor, is that he struck the mailbox at the apartment, and the defendant said that he called his insurance. No one came to the scene, so he walked home. And the officer, when he arrived, saw the empty...
Did he make an attempt to make a phone call at the scene to anyone?
All he said is that he called the insurance company. That's the only person that he had stated he called. And then after that, he walked home because no one arrived on scene. And then that's when the officer arrived and saw his empty vehicle damaged. And then he found a utility bill and the ID.
I have so many questions. Let's do this. I'm going to appoint you a lawyer, or you have a lawyer, right? Let's do this. I'm going to hold off on finding probable cause at the moment. Let me wait for your lawyer to get here. We'll revisit PC here momentarily. Just go ahead, take a seat for me if you don't mind in the jury box. Yeah? Let's wait for your lawyer to get here and then we'll go forward. Sir, you were charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon and you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On December 27th, 2024, the officer observed the defendant's vehicle failed to maintain a single lane and veering over the left lane on 3 separate occasions. A traffic stop wasn't conducted, and the officer made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle. The defendant advised he was unlicensed and that the motor vehicle was not insured. The officer observed a strong odor of marijuana emitting from the passenger area of the vehicle, and the defendant voluntarily produced a partially burnt marijuana cigarette and stated it was the possible source of the smell. The officer conducted a search of the defendant's identifying information, which yielded an open felony warrant for continuous violence.
During a traffic stop for unsafe driving, officers discovered an unregistered firearm and a controlled substance on top of an active felony warrant. The situation quickly got more complicated when the defendant said he needed the weapon for personal protection. This case just took a serious turn.
The defendant's left jean pocket yielded a clear plastic baggie containing a green leafy substance. The substance was identified as marijuana based on training experience. The defendant's motor vehicle was searched incident to arrest and yielded an unholstered AR-15 pistol on the front passenger.
AR-15?
AR-15 pistol, Your Honor. And the defendant acknowledged ownership of the firearm and stated he used it for protection since his brother is a famous rapper.
Find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to put you in jail. Do you understand? You do not have a Texas driver license. You are not allowed to drive. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising me you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in this life. I don't care where you got to go. I don't care what you got to do. If you don't have a license and liability insurance, do not drive. Do you understand? How old are you, sir? What do you do for a living? Why?
I don't work.
How do you support yourself? How do you support yourself?
My brother supporting me out. I ain't go out looking for a job yet.
It's time. I will provide you a lawyer today, but it's time to get a job, a full-time job. When you have too much time on your hands, you become self-destructive. Not here. Do you understand?
Sir.
All right. Do you mind giving me an application, please? I need you to fill out an application for me. I'm going to have you sign a receipt of Victoria. I'm going to have you meet with Fleischer for your bond conditions, and then we're going to go. I'm going to get you on the right track, Mr. Galden. Come on.
How many warnings before justice steps in? When the courtroom becomes the last line between chaos and control, you need to see where the line is finally drawn. Don't just watch, think, question, and speak up. Was it too late or just in time? Subscribe. Now to Final Word, Court, where real justice meets real consequences.